divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
Welcome to this week's Let's Talk About. Now, Let's Talk About is an educational program that addresses social issues that concern us as Christians. My name is Doreen Kuntomenu, and I will be your host for today. And with me here is Mrs. Joyce Chumesi Edu. The topic for today is what I wish I knew before saying I do. Communication and emotions. Now, Mrs. Joyce Chumesi, I call her Auntie Joyce, is a seasoned marriage counselor, and she is the head of our Wellness and Counseling Center. Welcome, Auntie Joyce.
Thank you, Doreen. I'm fine, thank you.
All right, so we'll be delving into these issues. Please make sure you send your comments on the YouTube Live or to our WhatsApp number, 050-15-79996. I'm going to repeat it, 050-15-79996. You can just send your comments and your positions and whatever you think to us, and we will definitely read them. Okay, Auntie Joyce, I'm going to start the ball rolling. Okay,
Yes,
so
Doreen.
we are going to talk about communication. What is communication?
Okay, so the simple definition of communication is the flow of information between people. Okay, so there's the sender, there's the receiver, there's the message, and then there's the medium.
All right.
Okay, through which the message is sent. So we are communicating. Okay, you asked the question, so you are the sender. You asked me the question. You are the sender. I'm the receiver. Okay. Information, if I give you the feedback, then we would say that we are communicating. But if it's one way, then you are not sure if you are communicating. Okay, but you asked me a question, I give you the appropriate answer, then you know that your message was received. Okay, and the feedback is indicating that yes, we are communicating. So that's basically, so communication has the sender, the receiver, the message, and the medium through which the message
I've learned
is
something.
sent.
The sender, the receiver, and the medium.
The message and the medium through which the message is
Okay,
sent.
that's great. But is it necessary in marriage? Communication, is it necessary?
The day communication breaks down in a marriage is the day the marriage breaks down. Communication is an essential ingredient in marriage. Okay. Remember that we are two different people coming from two different places, and we are on this journey together. By all means, I have my mind, you have your mind. Even siblings who are brought up, okay, by same set of parents, grew up in the same house, whilst they were growing up, there was always conflict. Because God has given each and every person his or her own mind. Okay. So it is not possible that in every situation we will think alike. Definitely you have what you are thinking about based on your past experiences, based on your knowledge, based on what you have heard or seen and all that, okay? Your biases and prejudices. It affects your thinking about something, okay? So that may be totally different from you. So we won't think alike, okay? And so because we don't think alike, we need to communicate.
Yeah, yes. Okay, all right. So before marriage, I know most of us think we do know how to communicate. Right now, as you said, we are communicating. But can you tell us some surprising things you learned after getting married?
Okay, so I'm an extrovert. Okay. My husband is not as much of an extrovert that I am. Okay. Everybody is my friend. I relate to everybody. He's quite selective. Okay. And I am expressive in communicating. You do something to me, I must tell you now and then. Okay. And then I move on. He will think about it, try to find the best time to approach you, the best way of saying it, rationalize it to him. I don't have that time. Okay. So our communication styles were different. Something happens, I am telling you now and then. And after I've told you, I've moved on. No, he has to think about it a while. And whilst he's thinking about it, he's in a pensive mood. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Okay, so that was the difference between, it still is a difference between us in terms of communication, but over the years we've, so you may marry somebody who has a totally different communication style from you. But that is why we have courtship. Okay? That is why you go through counseling. Okay? Because you are the whole essence of counseling, and it is not 100% foolproof, but the whole essence of counseling is to get you to understand some basics before you go into this lifelong journey. Okay? Communication is key. Know the person you are marrying. How does the person communicate? Does it sync with you? Do you have a problem? You do? We must talk about it. How do we meet each other halfway? But if you don't talk about it, then you go into this lifelong journey, and can you swallow it for the rest of your life? Nah. So you have to know the person you are marrying, how the person communicates. And the two of you are supposed to align to each other even before you get into this. Because even during your wedding preparation, there must be a lot of communication. Otherwise, there would be a lot of conflicts. So we have to communicate. Whilst you are going out, we have to communicate. But if you have a totally different communication style, and when I talk about communication style, I'm talking about the passive. There are some people who everything is like, oh, okay, oh, whatever you want to do, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Okay. It's not honest.
True.
It's not honest. The fact that you want the person to marry you doesn't mean that whatever the person says,
You agree.
you agree. Why?
I don't know. Maybe you want
Because
the
when
person
you
to
get
like
into
you.
the marriage, at a point, your real self will come out. That is when people would say that, oh, when we were going out, she wasn't like that. When we got married, she changed. So in courtship, you have to be yourself. You don't like, you don't like. It isn't because you want him to marry you or you want her to marry you. And so, oh, okay, all right, whatever. So then you groom the person, okay, bring the person up to be assertive over you. That everything I say, she would agree. Now, fast forward, you go into marriage and now you have an opinion. And all of a sudden it's like, where is this opinion coming from?
Yeah.
So there's the passive people, which
Passive.
is dishonest, in my opinion. There's the aggressive ones.
Aggressive
The aggressive ones who want to bully you. So what I have said, I am the man. So take it. Or
Wait, what you are talking about, sorry to cut you, are the communication
The
styles.
styles.
All right. So
Yes.
as you are talking about the communication styles, I want you to connect it. Does it influence our relationship?
it does.
Okay, so
It does. So the
Take us
passive
through.
ones, as I said, the passive ones. So you have trained the other person to all the time be the one to take the decision. Because whatever he or she said, you said, oh, okay, whatever you say, I'll go with it. Whatever you say, it's fine. It's fine. Then fast forward, you go into the marriage. And it's no longer fine.
Yeah.
Because now you are beginning to feel that you are being taken advantage of. Your opinions are not sought. Your opinion is not sought because when you were going out, because you wanted to get married, so anything the person said, you said, oh, it's fine. I'll go on with you. Those are the passive people. It does not help. Then we have the aggression, the aggressive people. Whatever I say, I have the knowledge. I know. So what I say, you have to take it. Okay, so everything is a tournament. Every discussion is a tournament. Okay. That also always breeds conflict. And so you'd realize that in the relationship, you get worried. You can't even have a fruitful discussion
Yeah.
because it ends up being a fight.
yeah.
He or she definitely wants you to take what he or she is saying. Okay, so those are the aggressive. Now there's the passive aggressive ones too. Okay, it's fine, but it's fine that the person is saying, the person will do something else.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that is also
I
dishonest.
think most of us are mostly passive aggressive.
No, but why would you be passive aggressive?
I don't know.
Be assertive. Then the last one is assertiveness. Be assertive. Okay. Assertive means that, look, I recognize that you have a need, but so do I. Okay. So let's decide.
Isn't it
This is
easy?
my opinion. Bring yours.
Isn't it easy for someone to say that you being assertive, as in equated to you being difficult?
Not necessarily. Assertive people are not necessarily difficult people. If you truly are an assertive person, you listen as well. Okay. Being assertive is not equal to aggressive. There's the aggressive people, they don't listen. And then there's the assertive people, they know. They are telling you, they know they are right. And so they are giving you all the reasons why they are right. Okay. But they are also ready to listen to you and to hear yours. So if they think you are wrong, they'll be punching holes in what you are saying. Okay. But at the end of the day, they recognize that you have a need, you have a voice, you have an opinion.
Okay.
But so do I.
I hope you guys are learning from her, because I am. Make sure you glean and get whatever you need to hear. So you spoke about the communication styles, all right. Do you think it can change whilst you're dating? You know, your communication style can change from that, maybe that of a passive-aggressive to that of an assertive one? Can it change?
You know, God is wonderful. Okay, God created us and didn't put us in a straight jacket. So human beings are very versatile. Okay. And we have, our versatility depends on our experiences, our knowledge. So you go to school, when you were young, you were very docile, very passive. Everybody used to bully you in class. And then you learned that, no, sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. So as you are growing, you begin to stand up for yourself. Then if you don't check it, now you turn out to be the bully. Okay. All these are experiences that shape you. The beauty of being a Christian is your character is shaped by the Bible. Okay. What does Jesus say? What will Jesus do? Yes. That's what shapes our character. So you realize that per your nature, perhaps, or per your nature, perhaps you grew up in a house where it was always commotion. Okay. If you grow up in a polygamous home, there's a chance that the resources are few.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are clamoring for it. So it's rat race, survival of the fittest. So you learn to fight to get what you so it sort of shapes your character. Okay. Vis-a-vis growing up in a home where maybe it's just 2 children, mother, father, 2 children. Resources, 2 children, when we share it, you get your share. You don't need to fight, 50-50. But we are 10 children, so you are getting 10%, but you actually want 20%. So you need to fight for that additional 10%. All these are nature, and nature influence our character and shapes our character. Okay, and so yeah.
Okay. I'm
You
glad
could change.
you brought up the cultural, the nurture, and the nature. Because there's one question that I was hoping to ask, but since you brought it up, I'm going to. I wanted to ask, so do cultural and family background shape the way we communicate to each other? And then what advice will you give to couples who are from diverse backgrounds? What advice will you give them?
We all come from diverse backgrounds. Your background cannot be 100% like mine. Okay.
Yeah.
Because your parents are different from mine. And their parental style is also influenced by their background. So we are Trinity United Church. Most of us perhaps had parents who were lecturers or university workers. Okay, so we would say that perhaps we came from the same environment. However, how we were brought up is also influenced by how our parents, our individual parents were brought up. So in as much as we are brought up in the same environment, parental styles will be different, having been influenced by how they were brought up. Okay. And so it's rare that you would find 2 people who are from the same kind of, it's rare.
That's right.
We would have our differences. Okay. You'd come from a home that is democratic. Father, like I did. My daddy was very democratic. He would listen to you. Children, we had our voices. So he would seek your opinion, listen. He would veto when he has to, but he won't veto aggressively. He will veto after we have put all the ideas together, and then he, as daddy, is taking the decision. Okay. You may be coming from a background where your father is martial law. Okay. So what he says is final. He does not consult anybody. Chances are that you may turn up like that. Okay. Unless you are very conscious of it. Maybe you didn't like it when you were growing up. And you vowed to yourself that you weren't going to treat your children like that.
Yeah.
You could swing to the other end. So you become a laissez-faire parent. So anything your child does is fine because you grew up in a very stifling environment and you decided that you weren't going to let your children grow up in such an environment. And then you swing to the other extreme where whatever the child does is fine.
Yeah.
So diverse background, yes. But how do we communicate when we are coming from that? Again, it depends on what kind of environment you grew up in. So I have to know you. I have to understand where you are coming from. And that's also part of the essence of courtship, so that you get to know the person's background. Okay? In our culture, you don't just meet somebody on the street and you are marrying the person. You have to know the person's family. Okay? Actually, culturally, your parents have to investigate my background, and my parents have to investigate your background. What kind of diseases run in the family? Do they have fertility issues? I mean, investigate you.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So we'll come from diverse background, but let's get to know each other and then try and align ourselves to each other. Communication is critical.
It's critical.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. So there's this question that I asked you when we were sitting outside, and then I was asking, what's the difference between the theory of communication and the practicality of it?
Well, the theory is supposed to guide you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's good to go to school. Or
Yeah.
it's good to go to school. So if you learn the theory of communication, it's good. It's supposed to guide you. Theory will tell you that, oh, communication, there's the receiver, there's the sender, there's the message, the medium of message is theory, which is good. But it's a guide. Okay. Now, practically, this is you, this is me. Okay, how are we going to communicate such that every communication won't end up in a conflict, but there will be understanding, there will be good feedback. Okay. That depends on you and I. How do we communicate? So are you a passive? Everything I say, you say, oh, it's fine by me. I think that you even be boring at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hear a lot of men say that they don't want wives like that. They want wives who could also have an opinion and help direct them. They'll tell you that behind every successful man is a woman. Okay. So every big man, they'll tell you it's actually his wife who is ruling. Okay. So, but if you are your husband is a big man and you are passive in the background, you don't have any advice, you don't have any opinion, you are not a helpmate. The Bible says that as a woman, you are created to be a helpmate of the man. So, you cannot be passive. Okay. And if you are the man and you are also passive, society will begin to think that your wife is domineering over you.
Yeah. Okay.
If you are passive and your wife is assertive or aggressive, it means that people will say that your wife is ruling over you. And society would even help you not have a good marriage.
Yeah.
But it is not about who has the upper hand. It's about, can we both be assertive, but can we both listen? Listening is a critical ingredient during communication. When I'm speaking, you must listen and then tease out all the salient points so that, and then give me feedback.
Yeah.
Do you understand me? Do you have a problem? Give me the feedback. When you are speaking, I must also listen and also try and understand what you are saying. It's only when we do that that we say we are properly communicating. You have to be an active listener.
An active listener.
Not just hearing. The men would usually say that the women will talk a lot. So, as you are speaking, you say, Then you ask something that he should give you a proper, then you say, Then you know he's not being an active listener.
Yeah.
But if you're being an active listener, you are listening to understand.
I'm listening to understand.
And then you are teasing out all the salient points to act.
All right. I like how you are, in a way, evangelizing, like dashing in a little bit of, God and all that. So we have about 5 minutes. I want you to tell us, before I say I do, what are some conversations, you can just give us two, what are some topics that I can talk about with my would-be spouse that would really help us be in a Christian or a God-centered marriage, that would draw us into a God, I don't know if you get me, something that will make sure that marriage is God-centered. What are some topics that we should talk about?
Talk about everything.
Everything?
Talk about everything. I mean, in counseling, we'll do building a home. So you need to talk about your dreams, okay? Because it used to be you, and now I'm going to be with you. And Bible says that because of this reason, a man would leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two of them will become one flesh. Okay. So if I'm going to be joined to you to become one flesh, it means that of a necessity, we need to put our dreams together. Our dreams and aspirations. So I don't want to be in Ghana when I finish school. That is your dream. You want to be in Ghana and build a life here because you believe that you can make it here. I believe we cannot make it here. Now, these are two divergent views. We are on a trajectory. But once we are going to get married, it means that there must be a compromise. So what do we do? It's a discussion we should have. Putting your dreams and aspirations together. You must talk about finances. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
In this journey, you earn, I earn. How are we going to put our monies together to do things as a couple? You have to talk about it.
Okay.
Now I have to talk about parenting. Because you probably were brought up with a different parenting style than I was. But we are going to build our home. So we have to have our own parenting styles. What are we going to do? How are we going to bring up our children? What number of children do we even want? Doreen wants 6. Her fiancé wants 2. Yeah, any day. Are we going to compromise at 4? Or Doreen would realize that after the first one, she would realign and say, no, we cannot look after 6 children. I agree, we'll have 2 children. I mean, you have to talk about this.
Yeah.
You even have to talk about in-laws. You have to talk about in-laws. You have to talk about how we are going to look after our parents. All these are decisions that we have to take.
Okay.
And these are discussions that must be made.
All right. Okay, so we have to talk about everything. There's a question that a friend of mine wanted to know. She was like, how or who should initiate a conversation about marriage? Who should?
As in the woman or the
Yes,
man?
please.
Oh, why? Whose domain is it in?
The man?
Really?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because so take it that you are 30, okay, and you are going out with maybe a 31, 32-year-old man. He may not be in a hurry to marry. He's now struggling to make things in life. But you are 30, your biological clock is ticking. So you leave it for him. The men, they don't have any biological clock. So a man can get married at 40 and, I mean, he's fine. But you are at 40 and you know that the woman's eggs, you are born with your set eggs. During menstruation, every month, you shed off. So your eggs are diminishing and your eggs are aging. And they every year means that they are less viable for fertility. So that's what people say when they are talking about biological clock. So you don't really have that luxury of time to wait. Initiate the conversation. Why not?
Okay, girls, you've heard her.
Initiate the
conversation about marriage.
Because you don't want anybody wasting your time.
Your time, yes.
No, you don't. So if you think that you are ready for marriage and this guy is just circling around you, she will say, Master, I mean, at this juncture, what's happening?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's so much things that we want to talk about, but we have to go for a short commercial break. Please don't forget to send your comments to our WhatsApp number 050-157996, or you can just comment on our YouTube the live, and then we will answer your questions. So that is it for now. We will be back. Stay tuned.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce.
Welcome back, everyone. So we are still talking about what I wish I knew before saying I do, communication and emotions. And we have here Auntie Joyce, who has been so good to us, telling us so many things. So I will be reading your questions soon, so keep them coming. Auntie Joyce, before we read the first question, I wanted to ask this question about assumptions. Do they hurt relationships? When it comes to assumptions, you don't assume, or you assume and not communicate. Do they really hurt our relationships, and will they hurt our marriage in future?
If you're assuming, it means you're not communicating. So whatever you are thinking, ask me and let me answer. Let me give you feedback. Let's communicate. But if you don't ask and you are assuming, then it means you are not communicating.
Oh.
That will definitely hurt.
Oh.
They will. Because you may be assuming also wrong. But if you ask and give me the opportunity to explain, to answer, then at least we are on the same wavelength.
Yeah. All right. So there's a comment by Jennifer Mante. She says, please tell Sister Joyce we need her book on this topic. They need your book.
A book.
Auntie Joyce, please, right now, get it ready. We will definitely
Jennifer, I hear you.
Okay, so I'm moving on to the next question. Is it everything that you tell your spouse? Should I tell my spouse everything, depending on his or her emotional intelligence?
Okay. So if you have skeletons in your cupboard, you don't want to release everything. Okay. You can do nothing about your past. It's your present and future that you have control over. But what has happened has happened. Now know your spouse. There are people who are happy-go-lucky people. If you tell them, oh, they'll laugh over it and that's it. They won't even remember. There are others who would also imbibe every little thing you say, okay? And they have this box in their brain somewhere that they store things you have told them about your past. Fast forward, something happens in the future. Then they go inside the box and see if there's a like item. And then they put them together and form a story that overwhelms you. Okay, so know the person you are marrying. If you have a person who imbibes every little thing, it is not everything you say. Okay. But if you have somebody who really wants to know you, wants to know all about you, and doesn't hold your past against you, especially if your past is nothing to write home about, then, I mean, you can say.
Okay, so another comment. So insightful. This is by Bubu. I would like to know from Auntie Joyce what she considers the attributes of somebody ready to say I do.
God didn't put us in a straitjacket, so there's no definition of somebody who is ready to say I do. But there are pointers. Okay. Maturity should be it. Okay. You are able, when you talk to the person, okay, you're able to engage the person, have future conversations based on the future with the person. The person has a plan of how he or she's life is going to be. The person knows how to put money aside towards a project. You see, there are all these pointers that will tell you that, oh, this person is ready for marriage. But it stems from person to person. Yes, but they are just pointers.
Okay. So, Bubu, they are just pointers, so please. All right, so another question by Kwejo Apia. I want to ask how I can balance expressing my needs and desires without becoming overly critical or demanding. I want to ask how I can balance expressing my needs and desires without becoming overly critical or demanding.
Be assertive, don't be aggressive.
Be assertive.
Okay. Aggressive means that you are bullying the person. By all means, you have to.
Yeah.
If you do that, when you get into marriage, it means that you always have the upper hand. And you always have an unhappy spouse. Now you want something. Can you engage? Engage the person. If you give the person all the reasons why this thing should go your way, and you have a reasonable person, she would understand. Okay, but if you are not giving the reasons, but you are insisting that it must go your way, and it cannot always go your way. Even Kwekwa Nancy, he didn't have all the wisdom. He tried. Okay, so no one person apart from God has all the wisdom in the world.
Yeah.
No matter how knowledgeable you are, there are some things that you'd feel. Look, I always say that our last born, she's the wisest in the house. She's such a deep thinker, and when there's a conversation we are discussing, she should be quiet. Now, after all the rest of us, we have somersaulted and landed, then she just throw in one question, and we'll just be looking at each other. She would bring an angle that the rest of us weren't thinking about. Okay, so yes, she's my daughter, but a lot of times she shows me that she has the gift of wisdom. She's wiser. Okay, so it does not matter the age of the person. If you are marrying somebody, okay, you are marrying somebody not for the person to become an underdog. You want somebody you would reason with. Somebody you are owning the points. Okay, so you don't want somebody who has no opinion, or somebody who anything he or she says is over the bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you are always the one taking the decisions. It must even be a boring existence for you if you
Yeah.
are always the one taking the decision. You shouldn't do that. You won't have a happy marriage.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, the questions are coming. Another question by Atakra. Atakra is asking, so on the communication style, if both parties are assertive, would that not create an aggressive home? Also, can the parties not employ different communication styles based on the situation just for peace to prevail?
Then I say again that human beings are not in a straitjacket. By nature, you may be assertive, but given a situation, you'll be so calm and so passive, and others are wondering, is that Doreen? Okay. It comes with, if the Holy Spirit sits in you, okay, at every point in time, in every situation, there's that calm voice that gives you direction, that this one, you have to be strong. This one, let it pass. Okay. That is where maturity also comes in. You won't always be assertive and insist on yours. There are times when, the consequences are not any big deal, so you let it go. So yes, I agree with Atakra. There are situations where you would vary. Naturally, perhaps 80% of the time you are an assertive person, but there's that 20 that you let things go,
Okay.
depending on the exigencies of the situation.
All right. This is also a follow-up question. Is the passive style of communication different from the biblical understanding of submissiveness?
People have different definitions for the submissiveness. Yes, submit because that's the charge we've been given as women. But there's nowhere in the Bible that the Lord expects us to be underdogs. Okay. If you go to Proverbs 31, that is actually giving the characteristics of a good wife. You'd realize that she takes decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, she takes decisions. She's not always waiting for her husband to take this. She takes decisions with a view of enhancing her home. Okay, so if you are passive, as I said beginning of this discussion, I said no man really wants a passive wife. Just say you don't have any opinion. No, the home will be boring, wouldn't it?
That's what some of them want.
No. Even the bullies, at some point, they want somebody who would say, oh no, I think you should do it this way. Okay. But if everything your husband says, oh Mira, okay, medase. Oh Mira, medase, you'll be a boring wife.
Yeah. Then I think we need to really teach everyone that submissiveness is not just saying Mira medase or yes please, but you can also
so you
decisions.
can air your opinion respectfully. That's your head. So you can air your opinion. Show him the reason why you think he's taking the whole family into a ditch. Okay. Give him that reasons. He doesn't listen. Okay. You are submitting. So you say you're okay. You are the boss. Let us all go and fall into the ditch. When we fall into the ditch, surprisingly, it is the woman's wisdom that gets us out of the ditch.
Well, marriage is not easy, I guess. God is in control. All right, so another question by Bubu. She's saying, in today's world, does saying I do benefit women? Does it?
So if she's asking, does she mean that as in getting married?
Yes.
So is Bubi saying that she thinks that it's better to cohabit?
Oh, she's asking, does it benefit us? That I do.
What does the Bible say? Okay, remember we are Christians.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are Christians. We are not going by the world standards.
Okay.
What will Jesus do? WWJD. Okay. Will Jesus say that it's okay to cohabit? Jesus won't say that. Okay. It's Paul who said that, left to him alone, don't marry. You stay as you are and do the work of God. But if you think that you don't, you cannot stay, things will be knocking things. Marry. Okay, so and let's also remember that marriage is an institution ordained by God.
Yeah.
If it's not a good thing, why would God get involved? Okay, marriage is God's idea. It's not the world's idea. So if the world thinks that it's better to cohabit, the world is
I think
thinking
it's
outside
better not to
what
marry at
God,
all.
not to marry at all. And you're sure things will knock things. If you marry and you're sure that you would stay pure and chaste, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
But would you?
Boo boo, would you?
Boo boo, would you?
Okay. All right. So another question by Kwesi Auntie. What would you say is the role of commitment as a virtue to be possessed and developed before marriage? What would you say is the role of commitment as a virtue to be possessed and developed before marriage?
Yes, commitment is a virtue.
Commitment is-
And marriage requires commitment from both parties. Okay. Because if you are not committed, you'd be looking elsewhere. But Bible, God's definition of marriage is for us to stay committed to each other. So commitment is a virtue and a critical ingredient in marriage. Commitment means to breed faithfulness. Okay, and so commitment is critical.
All right. There's another question, but I had to quickly open my dictionary to check the pronunciation. All right, so another question, it says, should financial, I hope I am not massacring that word, buoyancy be a deal breaker before you say I do?
I wish the person would expatiate on this question. But yes, by all means, you have to talk about finances. Okay, because before we are getting married, you have things you are doing with your money. Okay, and before we are getting married, I also have things I'm doing with my money. Now we are coming together as a couple. Now, if the Bible says becoming one flesh, it means becoming one in everything. It's not just about being one in bed, okay? But one in mind, one in everything. And that includes finances. Yes. So we need to talk about our finances. How are we going to put our monies together? Is your money yours? Is my money mine? Or your money is our money and my money is our money? If we are able to have a discussion and conclude on the premise that your money is our money and my money is our money, that's a right footing. Okay. So people would have joint accounts where perhaps the mandate is either to sign. Okay. So we both have access to the account, or both to sign. So we both have to sign the check before we can withdraw the money. And then we decide that, okay, every month, this is how much you are putting in, this is how much we are putting, because we want to buy a land. We are working towards a project. That's for you to decide. Some would also say that, okay, the man would give housekeeping money, this amount every month, and the woman or the man would take care of the big bills, so the school fees, the utility, and then the woman would also take care of the feeding and all that. It depends on the two of you. Okay, but by all means, you need to have that conversation
About money.
about money.
All right.
Money is a deal breaker.
Money is a deal.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so there's one question. You know, we are in a fast-paced world where everything is about social media. All right, so do you think social media affects how healthy a relationship can be? Now you can just tag your spouse, your husband, your boyfriend, just so that you can laugh and keep the conversation going. So can it really affect communication in a relationship?
No, it does. I mean, social media can be an enhancer to how we communicate. Okay, so before social media came, how were couples maybe take it that one is away several miles away. Thank God for technology. Now you can do WhatsApp call, you can do Snapchat, real time. You are seeing the person. It used to be letter writing. And then you take it to the post office, or you do an audio on a cassette. Yeah, on a cassette. It's not your time. So that's where you would hear my grandmother say, "Eye me, onena na America say." And then you post it. So when it gets there, then the person plays it after like how many weeks. Thankfully, we have social media now, so we can WhatsApp real time, Instagram real time. Okay, so I would say that social media can enhance communication. On the other hand, social media is also a bane in a lot of marriages, because woman comes home, she has to cook, she's cooking, and she's on WhatsApp with her friends, and she's on Instagram, and she's on what, and the food is burning. Okay, because social media can be so engaging. I have some crazy groups I'm on, and look, sometimes it can be so engaging, you'd forget that you were doing something. Everybody is crazy and everybody is contributing. It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. But at what expense? So how do you manage it such that it doesn't become a problem? Okay. Or we have discussed something, husband and wife, we discuss something, they go and put it on Facebook and everybody's giving a comment.
Yeah.
So you can use social media to enhance communication in marriage positively, or you can actually use social media to destroy your marriage.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have another question by George, and he's asking, what is the difference between being assertive and being authoritative, into brackets, controlling?
Assertiveness is not aggressiveness.
Assertiveness is not aggressiveness.
No. If somebody is assertive, doesn't mean the person is aggressive. So you have to know it clearly. Okay. Somebody being assertive means that the person knows his or her stuff. Okay. And is speaking it. And is voicing it. However, the person also gives room for you to also voice yours. But then, at the end of the day, he's insisting that, no, look at what I'm saying. I'm giving you this and this and this. These are the reasons why you must go with mine. Assertiveness is not aggressiveness. Sometimes the aggressive people, they don't know. Actually, empty barrels make the most noise. So sometimes it's the fact that the person is aggressive doesn't necessarily mean the person knows what he or she is talking about. But the person is using brutish force to get you to subdue you, for you to decide to toe his or her line. So assertiveness is not aggressiveness, no.
I think is there a thin line between assertiveness and aggressiveness? Because honestly, I feel people just mistake one for the other.
People do mistake one for the other, yes, but you'd realize that a truly assertive person is actually giving you facts. Okay, the person is not just making noise. The person is giving you facts, and what the person is saying can stand the test of time. Okay, so for you to be an assertive, you have to be knowledgeable.
Okay, goes hand in hand. All right, another question by Sadi. Please, what if you try to communicate to your partner and your opinions are always invalidated unless it is in their favor?
No.
That's an aggressive person, please.
Yeah, that's an aggressive person. It cannot work like that. Okay, in marriage, one is not an underdog. No. It's not a master-servant relationship. No, that's not how God made it. Okay. God made the woman to be a helpmate. And not a servant. So if your boyfriend is putting you in a substitute situation, that's a big red flag. It's going to get worse when you get married.
Yeah.
You won't be happy.
Yeah.
You won't be happy. He has to learn to listen to you as well. If he totally refuses to listen to you, it's a red flag.
It's a red flag.
Sister, you're careful.
Yeah. Okay. Another question. Is it necessary to conduct investigations in the marriage rite? But who is going to get married to those with female and male infertility? You mentioned about the investigation.
Well,
now who would want to marry?
Well, some people don't mind not having children. And again, thankfully, maybe when you investigate, you realize there's infertility in the family. But now there are modern trends in science.
Yeah.
Okay, medicine has evolved. So if a grandmother didn't have the advantage of technology that you have now, perhaps you have that advantage. But then it's good that you know. So then when you get married, you are not giving yourself the laxity of time and saying, oh, we want to chill and start trying to have children after 5 years. Because you know there's a problem somewhere. So you are trying immediately. And there are some tests you could even do before you get into marriage that could determine, how fertile you are. You could, knowing that you have that problem in your family, you could start the investigation early, even before you get into marriage.
Okay. All right. I was so engrossed in our conversation that I forgot to welcome new viewers. So please, if you just joined, we've been talking about what I wish I knew before saying I do. And then we are looking at it from the aspect of communication and emotions. And there are lots of questions that have been coming up. We talk about how the different communication styles. So just in case you missed it, you can rewatch it when we are done. Okay. There's another question. It's quite long, so I'm going to break it down. So how can technology, example, social media texting, impact our communication? And how can we set boundaries? The reason why I am asking is that because there's a sister I'm looking forward to, I can't doing life with, but I find it more comfortable to chat or talk to her on the phone rather than talk to her face to face. Is this not weird? Will it affect our communication when we marry? Auntie Joyce?
Why would you talk to your wife through text?
Yes, maybe
more comfortable talking to her. It's a Gen Z behavior.
Yeah, I know.
You people are more comfortable chatting. You're not even comfortable placing calls. You prefer chatting. The best the person can get is a Snapchat.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're calling a Gen Z and you're on the line for too long, they can't breathe.
Yeah, they get anxious.
They get anxious. Hurry up and leave the line.
Yeah.
They want you to text. It could be a big problem in marriage. Okay, so what? There's a serious conversation, but you'd be texting. You expect your wife to be texting and it doesn't work. It won't work. Yeah. Okay. There must perhaps currently he's shy of the lady. Okay. So he should try to be more engaging. Gradually he would become used to talking. Maybe he's shy.
Probably take you on a date once in a while.
Yeah, take her on a date. Just go for a walk. It doesn't have to be a date that you have to spend money.
But it's so difficult. You are at Agbo, but the person is at East Legon and you are going for...
God, Saturday morning, let's meet on the Ebri Mountain. Saturday morning, let's meet on the Ebri Mountain and go for a walk. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm glad Bubu mentioned that finances is also a deal breaker, because if you don't have money, how can you go to Ebri Mountain? But
how can you go to Ebri Mountain? You don't go there with money. What? Oh, you are living at Agbogba. Walk.
Okay, all right. So we are about to wrap everything up. Please, your final comments. From what we've gathered, a lot of people are probably in relationships where they are finding it difficult to, communicate or know their communication styles and whether they are even ready for marriage. So what are your final comments to these group of people watching us right now?
Thank God for technology. Now there are so many resources online. Okay, read. Knowledge is power. Okay, so read on communication styles. Try and profile your partner. what kind of style do you think the person is using? What are the pros and cons of that style? What is your own style? You've got to be emotionally intelligent. Know yourself first before you even attach yourself to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you attach yourself to somebody, you are learning to know the person before you go into the lifelong journey.
Yeah.
Communication is an essential tool. So read, talk, put the phone aside, engage person to person, eyeball to eyeball. Okay. And it is the more we talk, the more we know ourselves better. The phone is a distraction. It's nicer when you are talking to human beings.
It is.
It is.
See? We are enjoying.
So talk. Yeah. Communication is key.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
And I also think that you also need to know your personality as a person and know that of
That's where
your-
emotional intelligence comes in. Be self-aware.
be self-aware.
Okay. Be able to define yourself. Be able to say, this is who I am. Okay. These are my boundaries.
Yeah.
These are the things that spark me. These are the things that anger me easily. These are the things that bring me exceeding joy. Okay. Now, who are you? It's after I've gotten to know myself and I'm able to define myself, that is when I can attempt to know another person. But if I don't know myself and I'm getting to know, it becomes a whole muddy
Yeah.
mess.
Yes.
Okay, and every day we have problems and we are going back. We have 2 steps forward and then take like 5 steps back.
Yeah.
It's all because I don't know myself, you don't know yourself, and we are trying to know each other.
Okay. Thank you so much, Auntie Joyce. Thank you so much. Viewers, we really hope you enjoyed our conversation because we are done. Thank you so much, Auntie Joyce, for gracing our screens and for sharing all these things. I know that as we turn off our phones or our laptops, we will still think about all that these nuggets of wisdom that you shared with us. So today I was joined by Mrs. Joyce Chumesi Edu, and we were talking about the things that we have to do before, things that we need to know before we say I do. So my name is Doreen Kuntomenu, and I was your host for tonight. Okay, so we will definitely see you next week. Please make sure you join. Thank you, and may God be with you. Goodbye.